did,
Yeah.
and that's not going too far back. We in the last hour we kind of talked about Camille. A caller had brought up Camille, one of the mothers of all storms, as hurricanes go. But when experiencing and I still think Katrina's pretty fresh, and I'm sure it is for you as well. And when you kind of think about the being forgotten about, when we go back to Katrina, that's how we felt.
Absolutely.
As well. And the problem with this is because it is so bad when something like has happened to Lake Charles and Cameron and that area, it is really bad, and you can never get enough help fast enough. Everything is behind because you need help now, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. And that's where we all do feel their pain. And that's why I encourage everybody, if you've got that blue tarp in your garage from last time or anything else that can help, pass it forward.
Yep. We appreciate it. Thank you, Gregory.
Okay, so Dwayne, I was kind of looking over this article that's in NOLA.com, the New Orleans local paper, and I was thinking about how you had helped me last year. I had a tax assessment that I thought came in blisteringly high, just an absolute ridiculous valuation. And your show's kind of like this show, to where if you call in and ask a financial question, there's a good chance Gregory has an answer or at least the right direction in his head. But if not, we'll pass you off to the guy who we think that's his level of expertise and can help you even further. And you did that with me. You showed me a guy who would evaluate my home and come up with the paperwork that I could take and challenge my assessment, and it did get reduced. Well, something similar is happening for 2020. A whole lot of businesses were shut down, and in Orleans Parish, the tax assessor said he's going to go through and he's going to cut a big chunk of the valuation of some of these commercial properties. So, you can't change the millage without the city council voting on it. But the tax assessor can just on his own, with the stroke of a pen, change the valuation and give businesses a tax cut that way. Mm-hmm. I thought that was pretty interesting. The tough part is, though, my taxes still went up. I just got them to not go up as much as they want them to go up. So let me get this straight. So everyone that lives here, our taxes are going up, and we're going to help make up the shortfall that the mayor is complaining about. But some of the businesses, and really the huge businesses downtown that are owned by out-of-state companies, are going to get the tax break, and they're going to pay less into the system. And I just wanted to filter that through you and Gregory.
I can tell you I have a problem with that. I think they should pay.
So I'm not missing something. It really is just sort of that dastardly.
Yep.
If it's one thing, local businesses given a break, but I think they should open the dadgum city up within the rules, and let's go about doing business, and everybody wear a mask. That's where I'm at. We're just crushing things by letting business, and let the hotels start doing business, and let the restaurants and stuff. That's where I'm at. And then your tax thing's fixed because they're making money and can pay it. We're going to keep you closed, but we'll slash your tax rates. That's BS.
Yeah.
Dwayne?
No, I 100% agree. And commercial is different, James, than residential because, listen, commercial, you're taxed on everything that's within the building, right? Residential, you're not taxed on your kitchen table, whereas commercial, you are taxed on supplies and product and different things like that. So
I don't know how that works.
Yeah. So if
Orleans, they send you bill for about everything.
Yeah.
And your desk and stuff. So it's some ridiculous. And that's one reason you can make a choice. Well, I think I'm going to put my business in Jefferson Parish versus Orleans because I don't want them coming around giving me a tax on my dadgum furniture.
This is the first I've heard of that, and that sounds pretty awful.
It is.
It is. It is as a business.
Because I've talked to people who had commercials property before, and they never mentioned that to me. So I guess that maybe that's just the Orleans Parish kind of thing.
Yeah, so on local businesses, you want to help them out. Don't tax them on their furniture this year because they're having a tough time. You shut them down.
There's an idea. All right, we got Dwayne Stein in the building with us. So Gregory or Dwayne, it's the same phone number, 504-260-0995. I'm James Parker. We're Winning It Live with Gregory Ricks.
What's happening, Gumbo Nation? Yeah, hey, we're hanging out today on with Gregory Ricks.
In less than 30 seconds.
I absolutely love this. Is where Mortgage Gumbo the seed was planted. It all started right here. So super excited. Love doing this show. Hey, this is my monthly show week. This is the week every month I get the opportunity to do it. Gumbo Nation gives still some time. Just want to take a little bit of time for the folks that are on or who may check this out. Gumbo Nation gives. You could go to mortgagegumbo.com and click on the Gumbo Nation link for drop-off sites for our supply drive. And we'll be collecting those items on Monday as we'll be delivering that stuff to our folks over in Southwest Louisiana, over in the Lake Charles area, sometime next week when it's convenient for them. So, again, thank you so much. Check out all the new angles here. Kind of show you what we've been working on, right? Check that out. A little bit of little rate watch angle there. Hey, doing the breaks. Check that out. What's happening? We're going to learn how to use that chat feature there. One thing at a time. Yeah, everybody relax. That's if you want, what's up? How you doing? And we got a little full studio here. There we go. So, pretty cool stuff here. We're perfecting this show. We're busting our rear end to perfect this show for you. And, of course, always rotating through our awesome Total Home Authority members.
Nowhere to go, nowhere to be. I got my shades on, top back, rolling with the music jack, one on the wheel, one on the
Hey, happy Saturday. This is Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Welcome to the Money Show. I'm your co-host, James Parker. We got Gregory Ricks, the financial advisor, in here with us, and Dwayne Stein of Mortgage Gumbo. He's joining us for this hour. So if you have a financial or a mortgage-related question, call the show, 504-260-0995. I'll say it again for the people typing it in on their phone right now, 504-260-0995. We're going to ask Dwayne here to comment on a caller that we got earlier this week where a guy was just looking for help on how to get this credit score up. John in Gulfport, you're on Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. How can we help you, sir?
Good evening, guys. Thanks for letting me get on here tonight. How y'all doing?
Great.
We're good.
Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, look, I just recently applied for a secured credit card at my local credit union back in August, and it's a secured credit line for $500. And I'm just trying to boost up my credit score so I can eventually get a house. So I was just wanting to know how this works because my credit union seems to not really know too much about it. So basically with the $500 line of credit, I'm just trying to, build up the numbers, stay underneath the minimum, the minimum percentage. So I'm basically spending just like $50. My goal is to spend about $50 a month. Is it safe to pay off the whole balance of the $50 every month? Because I'm kind of getting mixed advice on that. And I just want to know if you can give me some clarification on it. Appreciate it.
Is this your only type of credit you've utilized?
I have a car note as well that I'm doing as well that's reflected on my credit score that boosted it up tremendously. So I'm just wanting this to kind of, help add on to it.
So on the car loan, you're paying on time every month, right?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
You have any late pays out there?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
This other line of credit will add to it, but I also think maybe one of the other major credit cards out there. The most important thing is about consistency of making payments. That's really what they're looking for, that you will make payments. I'm not the guru on your credit number, so to speak, and all that. James, both he and I know a pretty good bit about, because we hang around Dwayne Stein of Mortgage Gumbo fame. He's got the Saturday show that talks about mortgages and such, and you can reach out to him at mortgagegumbo.com, and he'll be a big help on that. Do you have any thoughts, James?
Yeah, once you have the card, the metrics that they use with your credit are pretty easy to understand. Number one, how much of your credit limit are you utilizing? You have to keep that below a number. And Dwayne knows these things off the top of his head. Once you get to like 30%, that like trips some sort of score. If you have it above 70%, if you're utilizing like 70% of all your open credit cards, that triggers another calculation in there. So you want to keep it low, and you want to keep it below something like 30%. Again, this is off the top of my head, and don't nail me to the wall with that. But so an easy way you can get that, even a prettier number is get your credit limits raised on some of your credit cards once you have a little bit of payment history. The fastest way to get your score up is to pay down something huge. Get to your total debt to income ratio down. So that takes all your income that you have plus all of the money that you owe on a monthly tick. There's another ratio that they use there. Other than that, you got to start looking for disputing credit report errors, which is kind of unlikely and a pain and doesn't really seem to work too often. But really, there's very little substitute for just time, just getting as many of those good payments in as possible. If you have any ugly stuff, do you have any ugly stuff in your credit history?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, you're actually in a pretty good spot here. Usually we would have to tell you you're just going to have to walk in a straight line for 3 years until some of this older stuff falls off. But you just got to start building. And sounds like you're on your way. Sounds like you got some pretty good advice already, and you're headed in the right direction. All right, so that was from earlier this week. Dwayne, how do we do? Go ahead and grade us and be harsh if I got anything wrong. You can beat me up. I'm not worried about it.
No, A+. The only thing naturally I would ask from a lender standpoint, and y'all nailed it, is what is your credit score? Because the one thing he said is he went to a credit union, and they said, hey, you got to get your score up. I'd love it. Is his score a 680 and he's thinking he's not qualified to buy a home? That would have been one of my questions there. A couple other things I want to make sure that I cover, okay? For all of the listeners, you heard him say he went and got a secured credit card. Understand this. That is not the automatic way to fix your credit score, okay? New credit is only 10% of your credit score, okay? Credit mix is only 10%. The reason why I bring this up for this particular caller is this. Now, he only had a car note or a truck note, whatever it was. So him adding some revolving debt, that may work for him with that secured credit card, okay? That may work for him. But for everybody else that's listening going, oh, okay, I'll go open up a secured credit card and I'll improve my score. Not if you've got 10 other credit cards out there right now, or if you've got other usage, because credit utilization, credit mix, okay, credit mix, which is how much revolving debt do you have versus installment debt, is 10%. So you can't, when it comes to coming up with your FICO score or your credit score. The other thing he's going to have is length of history. Him just going to get that credit card, it's still going to take time, right? Because 15% of your credit score comes from length of history. So what I would tell your listeners and what I would tell that gentleman, and I'm sure he's listening today, he's a fan of your show, is, hey, you want to get that credit score up immediately? Let's go get you put on as an authorized user on somebody that's maybe got 10 plus, 5 plus years of excellent credit pay is going to impact your credit score a heck of a lot more than a brand new $500 secured credit card.
See, he's being nice. We should have thought of that, Gregory. We've heard him say that before on the show. I just couldn't recall it on Tuesday.
So the other thing you said is,
but that's not something he can go out and do, get on somebody else's score, because that's what you just said.
Well, no, but what he can do is he could go to mom, dad, brother, sister, or somebody like that, and if they make him an authorized user, he automatically picks up their 5 years of great pay, their 5 years of awesome credit utilization that might be below 30%. So that when I'm looking at it, all these, and it's affectionate when I say this, these schmuckatellis out there, it's easy for them to go, oh, go get a secured credit card. That's what somebody who's not in the lending business, who's just, who works 9 to 5, and they just got to talk to people every day about making a loan, and regardless if you close a loan with them or not, has to make a living. That's what they say. For me, who my living relies on me getting you in a house or refinanced, I've got to make sure that I direct you the proper way. So knowing credit inside out for me has been something I've been perfecting for 25 plus years. So credit doesn't intimidate me like it does some of these credit unions and banks and stuff like that. So that would be the tip of the day, would be for this gentleman. And I'd love to talk to him. And if he calls back into one of your shows, I'd love to know what his credit score is. Because
we did tell him he needed to speak with you because you're the eagle out right there. And I even told him about the Pat Riley story
I appreciate
as well.
Yeah.
So with that said, what you're also saying, nothing beats having credit over time and making your payments on time throughout that. You've got to make sure you're on time, but having years of that built up, don't go and mess that up.
Correct. And think of, for your listeners right now, think of a piece of pie, right? In your head, just imagine, if you're driving, don't close your eyes. We don't need that. But if you're driving, or just right now, draw a circle on a piece of paper and think of a piece of pie. The largest piece of your credit comes from what you just stated, Gregory, and that's your payment history. How well do you make your payments, right? So, hey, that bill in college that you let go, that light bill, that's going to affect your credit score. But 35% is the biggest piece of pie is payment. The second biggest piece of pie, if we're chopping it up here, for your credit score is 30% is amount owed. In easier terms, that is your credit utilization. So if you have a $1,000 credit limit, and James, you did perfect on this, okay? You get a little.
It was 30.
You get a little gold star. It's 30%. Now, if you have a $1,000 credit limit and you're at $900 right now, well, you might not have $600 to get you under $300, okay? To get you under the 30%. Then work in 10% increments, because you'll get a little bump in your score. I improve people's score 1 or 2 points every single day, because I may get them to pay $10 to get their credit. If they have a $1,000 limit and they're at 902, I get them to 892, and boom, I pick up 2 points. So again, as part of the pie, that second piece is your credit utilization. The next biggest piece is 15%. That is your length of history. How long have you had your debt? We as lenders want to know that you didn't just go get a credit card last week, and because you made 2 payments on time, hey, yeah, cool, we'll give you a couple $100,000 for a house. No,
right.
We need to see that you not just the ability to pay, because how much money you make has nothing to do with a good credit score. So your ability to pay is, we got to be able to see that, but not just your ability, your willingness to pay. Then the other 10% is credit history and your credit mix. Your revolving debt versus installment. So for this gentleman, he may get a little bit of a bump with that secured credit card because he only had a truck note, but I could easily fix his stuff. Go get him an authorized user. I'll get that dude score up, overnight, immediately.
All right, this is Dwayne Stein of Mortgage Gumbo. MortgageGumbo.com is his website. But if you want to call and talk to him or Gregory right now, it's 504-260-0995. I'm James Parker. We're Winning It Live with Gregory Ricks.
What up, Gumbo Nation? Thanks for hanging out. Hey, doing Gregory Ricks' show. Listen, this guy's the guru. He is amazing. He's been on air 10 years now. It's crazy to think how I got my opportunity to start with him. So fortunate to have somebody who is a Hall of Fame financial advisor that every week is on air 6 days a week to give just free financial advice, and for me to be part of his Total Wealth Authority as his mortgage and home-related guy is just awesome. So, you know, look, if you're hanging out right now, checking out my Facebook page, you're able to listen to him. Listen, go sign up for his Winning at Life app. His app is amazing. There's constant content being updated. To be honest, it's what I'm working towards. I mean, he's fantastic. What him and James are constantly updating you for. And it's not necessarily, oh, well, how much money do I have to have? It's just great tips for your 401ks, just where maybe should you be investing. That way you can get to maybe a point where you can work with a Gregory Ricks down the road. So great opportunity there. Check out that Winning at Life app. It is fantastic. I go to it daily. So easy to find podcasts. And, hey, plus my show. So if you're ever on the go, hey, you just want to check out the you have the app, you know, the iHeartRadio app, or you got the Gregory Ricks app. Hey, you just click on it, boom, and he's airing my show. So I think it's fantastic. And he's amazing.
But you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey.
Winning at Life.
Keep your head up, oh,
It's the Money Show. I'm your host, Gregory Ricks, along with James Parker. We have Dwayne Stein, host of Mortgage Gumbo, with us. And we're talking when we went to break with Dwayne about credit scores and the importance of history and credit mix and making those payments on time. And I've got a stat here, Dwayne.
Okay.
By the way, the phone number is 504-260-0995 to join the conversation with James, Dwayne, and myself. 56% of the $1.54 trillion of student loan debt in the United States is held by individuals with graduate degrees.
Yeah.
I had somebody the other day ask me that if he should go continue to school, maybe get his master's or, just further the degree. And I said, I don't think that's going to help you. What you need to get out there and do is get to work and build a resume of the guy that gets it done on the job and start building up your knowledge and reputation there to make a big difference. In that case, I've talked to so many people that have that extra stuff and they borrowed money to get it. And then they go, I said, was it worth it? No, I wish I hadn't done it. Now I've got a debt to pay off.
Yeah.
Dwayne, where I'm getting at, that's kind of my thoughts on it. But if you miss payments on that student loan, is that affecting your credit score?
Yes, absolutely.
And I hear a lot of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. As a matter of fact, tune in at 1. That we're doing credit myths, and that is one of the things that come up all the time is student loan debt. And yes, it affects your score. That's why, number one, if you could get it set up on auto pay, a lot of folks right now are thinking, and I'm starting to see it, well, I've been in forbearance, I haven't had to make payments. Well, when that forbearance is up, what are the arrangements that you're going to have to make? Did you make a deal with the devil there? But the other thing I want to make sure for student loan people that are listening is this. You have options, okay? My investors accept what they call income-based plan. So if you come to me, James comes to me, and he doesn't have his student loans set up on any kind of payment or they're in deferment, I have to count 1% against him. So if he's got $40,000 in student loans, $400. Now, if he's doing a rural development loan, it's 50%, so $200. But if his stuff is based on his income, right, then you do income-based. Well, then, based on that person's income, hey, maybe they're only paying back $30. Now, look, for me and you, that makes a squirm, right, Gregory? Because the amount of interest there basically is just going to continue to just accrue. However, at least you are a homeowner, right? So don't go bad on this student loan debt. Don't be mad at that student loan debt. You've got to make sure that you're paying it. But that is a crazy statistic. I read that as well. It is absolutely bananas, that statistic.
Dwayne, we've got some callers.
Cool.
Chantal in Metairie, you're on Winning It Live with Gregory Ricks, talking to Gregory, James, and Dwayne. How can we help you?
Hi, yes. I added my infant son onto my credit, and he's an authorized signer on a credit card so that I can build him some credit for when he turns 18. And I was wondering if I should actually lock his credit so that it just is a little bit safer and he has a little more security in case anything happens.
Yeah, doing that is cool. So you put him as an authorized user, but keep this in mind. How old is he?
He's 2.
Yeah, so I don't think he's going to be rolling out, getting some gas, or going to get some, blow pops on his credit card, on your credit card, right? So make sure that you are protecting yours, because he's only the authorized user, right? So he's not taking it over to the little corner lemonade stand. I think what you're doing is cool. There's no doubt. But let's make sure that your credit is locked up, right? Let's make sure that yours, because if something happens to yours, guess who that's going to affect? His.
Yeah.
So make sure yours is locked up. Much more important than his, because in reality, he's not out there spending any of that stuff. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. You doing that for him today, it's not really going to make that big of a difference as opposed, because the next 18 years that you're paying your bill great, if you put him on that when he turns 18, he's going to benefit from that just as much, okay? So you don't have to necessarily be doing that for him right now. And we don't know what the future holds. So the last thing, and look, we hope nothing goes wrong, right, ma'am? But, hey, if something does go wrong or something changes in your world, do we want him to start behind the 8 ball at 18 because he was an authorized user on your credit and something went bad down the road? Probably not. So just be careful there, okay? Just be careful.
Okay.
I love what you're doing, but let's not put the cart too far ahead of the horse. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff, though.
All right.
Hey, love
Thank you.
that you're thinking ahead. You're welcome.
Thank you for the call, Chantel. I'm glad you added that on, Dwayne, because I was thinking all of a sudden everybody's going to I got to go get my kids on my credit. And actually, that has never occurred to me, from a youth standpoint. But you also pointed out this, because you don't know what's going to happen. This also could go the wrong way.
Yes.
And I have this I'm not so sure about that, because when you talk about putting somebody on their credit to improve their credit, that person and let's say you're wanting to improve your credit, so you go to your parents, hey, can you add me on to your credit or card so it can help me out? But you got to have some faith there, dude. Yeah. Because you're exposing yourself by helping this person out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where, if you're going to give somebody, we have talked about, Gregory, on the show umpteen times. The other thing we've discussed is never, ever co-sign, ever.
That's where I land at.
I know you love them, and I had a conversation with a friend of mine this week where I want to help my son buy a house. He can't afford it, so I'm going to help him out. Okay, he can't afford it. It's not time for him to buy a house. Unless you're buying another house for him, great. But what we're talking about there is, yes, you are right. Now, you could put that.
I've seen that happen, Dwayne, where they go to help them, and now they've got 2 houses.
Yes, indeed.
To pay
yes,
for.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And, so when you're looking at the authorization, number one, you can authorize them, but don't give them that card. Heck, don't even give them the number. Don't even give them the access to
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Hey, let's take Christy real quick here as a family credit. Might tie into what we're talking about.
Christy in River Ridge, you're on Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. How can we help you, Christy?
Hi. My question was, does that also, if something happens to the person who has the credit card, are you responsible for the debt?
Or are you the
If
person
you get
that,
added as an additional user
yes, you are.
and something happens and you...
Exactly
Okay,
what
go
we're
ahead.
talking
You
about.
just nailed it, Christy. Yeah, so if you allow somebody to, you go, hey, Dwayne, look, I'll let you take advantage of my awesome credit. You're now authorized user, and you give me access to that, and I go start running up the credit card, running it up, and I might not be not paying the bill, but let's say you were keeping it at $100 every month, that you just go buy some groceries and pay it off every month. When all of a sudden I go buy the new PlayStation 5, and now your credit's up your $1,000 utilization. I'm at $999 on it, and that, yes, Christy, that is going to affect your score. That's why you got to be careful with that.
No, actually, that really wasn't my question. I'm
okay.
sorry, I can't hear very well. I'm in my car, but my question was, if your parents allow you to get on the card and your parents pass away, and are you responsible for the debt on that credit card?
No, you're an authorized user. No,
Because you're an authorized user. No? Okay.
You are an authorized user, so but you're not responsible for that. So that is something that you would. Now, if you're proven to be using the card, that is different. If you're just an authorized user for credit purposes, no, you won't be held accountable there. No. Great question.
Yeah.
Okay,
Two
so that's
different
important
things,
to know
but the
that-
same problem
Yes.
is there. Yes.
Yeah.
And the other
Go ahead,
thing
Christy.
to
Well,
piggyback
thank you.
off of that, thank
That
you,
was it.
Christy. The other thing I want to piggyback off of that is this, because people go, all right, well, hey, I'll just go ask mom or dad or uncle or brother and sister to make me an authorized user, and they go, sure, not a problem. It's like that neighbor when you're talking to them and everybody got 0.5% on their mortgage. You gotta kind of. It's a weird conversation. Hey, can I use your credit? Sure. All right. Hey, can you kind of give me an idea of what your utilization and what your payment history is first? Like, you got to almost interview, because I've seen people come back to me and go, hey, all right, I went and got authorized on credit, and the people are past due, and their score drops by 100 points.
All
So
right, that
you
back.
got
Oh.
to be careful. So you can't just go, you can't assume. We all know what that does. So the person that you're asking to authorize it,
Right.
you got to kind of interview them as well. So it's a weird
504-260-0995. I'm James Parker. We're Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
It's a little too loud on the highway. I wanna pull back in your driveway. It's way too quiet at my place.
Winning at Life. Oh my gosh, love doing this show. We were just talking about that on the break. Biden the other night on that debate, he made a big error. Nah, it wasn't what he said. It's what he did. He looked at his watch. Like, when am I going to be done with this? I can't even remember anything anymore.
Hey,
that's just my take.
I think he probably just had a roast in the oven. and didn't want it to go too long.
Okay, because I remember that my first show 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, first radio show, I'm like 25 minutes in, and it was just an hour show, not a 3-hour Saturday show of the 6 days a week we do a show now. But my first one, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is never going to end. Watching the second hand actually just started slowing down too. But for me today, shows just fly by. Like, man, there's so much I had to say, and now we're out of time. Dwayne's coming on at what? Like, tell him to hold up. We got something else to say. Hey, we got to play a 4-minute clip from another caller, but I just want one quick thought here. And our last caller was about that on this
Authorized user
versus usage. That's two different things. Yes. And this is almost for somebody to do this, Dwayne, from what I'm picking up. Y'all need to vet each other really well. No surprise. And is within family, is that honesty going to be there? This is thin ice, the way I see it, and that doesn't mean hand them a credit card to go use because they're added on as an authorized user. Give me your thought real quick so we can get to this other soundbite.
If you're helping them and assisting them to boost their credit, let them be an authorized user, but do not share your credit card or the ability for them to use that card. Just let it be for reporting purposes so we can improve their score. That's it.
What happens to the usage stuff then?
Well, if they use it, whoever's using it, it's going to get that score. But we got to assume if I'm using James's credit, he's shown enough ability to manage his credit correctly where I'm going to benefit from that.
Okay.
All
right, so help us out with this call from Wednesday's show, Dwayne. Ryan in Biloxi, you're on Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. How can we help you, Ryan?
I have a friend who is a renter of I would like to say ours, not mine, but for the guy I work for, is she wants to purchase a house. And she's been told by her bank that her income tax ain't large enough. Now, she's paying like $1,400 a month in rent between her salon and the house that she's renting now. If she could buy this certain house in question for a couple of $100,000, she could have her salon and the house in the same location.
Okay, so she's trying to buy a house, and a banker told her she's not making enough money to buy the house, yet she's paying $1,400 a month in rent.
That's correct, yes.
Really, the core of what they go to is income to debt ratio. And this salon, is this her own business?
Yes.
Yeah, look at this. It might not be all the income is not showing up on the tax return to justify it. You know, it might be the net income, depending how she's running it on a Schedule C, and she just might not be showing much income.
That's what they're telling her, and they're telling her she's got to file whatever they call them revised tax returns for the past year or two and pay some taxes to pump it up. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
I'm going to tell you somebody she ought to call tomorrow, and let's go to
Dwayne,
Mortgage Gumbo.
I told her to go to Dwayne Stein,
Yeah, mortgagegumbo.com. Reach out to Dwayne.
You have an office in Gulfport, and she's in Biloxi, and I was trying to send her there today. I wrote it down. I didn't have a number.
Yeah, she needs to call Dwayne.
I called your number when I heard it on the radio, and
yeah, I think she needs to call Dwayne and have this conversation.
But she can get in touch with somebody from Dwayne's office through your Gulfport office.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, we'll have somebody will reach out to her tomorrow. Well, we don't have her phone number.
No, but I have it, and I gave it to the girl.
Okay.
They can call me, and I can give that to them.
Okay. That's what
And
we'll do
because
tomorrow then.
This lady needs some assistance.
Yeah. Well, they don't give that money out easily, but there's some little tricks of the trade that Dwayne talks about on his show that maybe he can pull off. But a lot of times you just have to do the
I
walk.
listen to you guys all the time. Y'all are great, and I explain that to her. I said, man, you got to listen to this radio show on Saturdays.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for calling, Ryan. Hopefully we can get her some help, at least some better information to figure out what to do to get that home.
What a good friend Ryan is.
Yeah,
all right.
Awesome.
And good luck to the friend.
Yeah, I thought he was out for a brisk walk, in the nice evening air, and and you could hear the wind blowing, but it was the car headed down the road, so
that's quite all right. It happens.
But I'm so glad he called. But it's exactly I was spot on with what was going on. She just doesn't have the income showing up
on paper.
But Dwayne, that is his thing, is helping people improve those situations, and he might have some thoughts that could help her with that. He's creative. I always kind of looked at him. It goes back to a Pat Riley story that he told in the book after he won him a few championships coaching the Lakers. And he was talking about one of the they went to a hotel, and they just kept having problems about getting their rooms, and the person started to go to the back, and he said, I'm going to go get some help. And Pat says, hold on a moment. If you go back there, you only come out with an eagle, because I'm tired of dealing with the ducks just going in circles. He said, bring me an eagle. Well, that's what Dwayne is. He's that eagle. He's going to figure out how to get something done. Dwayne Stein of Mortgage Gumbo.
All right, we're back live now. Were your ears burning when we were talking about you on Wednesday, Dwayne?
Yeah, and y'all nailed it, Gregory. Absolutely spot on. It all relates to what they call the acronym of a DTI, which is the debt-to-income ratio. I've yet, and I don't know anybody, and it sounds like Ryan's friend is in the same situation, I've yet to meet that person that says, no, I would love to pay more taxes. I really would. Mm-hmm. So, however, with that being said, you do have to show returns. Now, I wouldn't go by what the bank's saying, hey, go amend your returns and all that, because I could tell you, most investors aren't taking amended returns. That's number one. Number two, in her situation where we're at right now, what I would say is, call me, let's look at what you claimed this year, and then now we could make 20 match up, right? So let's not amend and go pay a whole bunch of taxes on something and then throw away 19. Let's wait and let's see what you claim on 20. Then we can kind of use your buying power and find out how much you want to buy. So let's make 20 match up to where we get right at that number you need, to where if you only want to buy a $200,000 house, well, heck, let's not make your taxes show where you qualify for $500,000. So those are the things that we want to look at there versus amending tax returns. That's never, and most lenders and investors will not accept amended tax returns.
All right, to the phones we
go.
go.
Real quick here. That's a scary road to go back down, go back into your past and say, hey, I've got to add more income on. That's red flag galore there. If you're going to do it, fix it. Just get more income in going forward. Go ahead, James.
Alita and Kenner, you're talking to Gregory, James, and Dwayne. How can we help you?
Thank you. I have a question. My husband and I paid our house 3 years ago. We are in our late 50s. Can anybody go and get a loan on our name without us knowing?
No. As long as you are paying your taxes, then you are fine. No, ma'am. I mean, if you own your home free and clear, when you purchase that home, you own the deed to that house. That property is yours. Okay. And at the time, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
So no.
Continue, please.
Yeah, no. So nobody can purchase that unless you default on your taxes. Then that property can be sold in what they call a tax sale or at a tax auction.
No, we always pay our taxes. The second question I have is I need to do some remodeling to my house. One bathroom and the kitchen and living room. Yep. It is wise for me to go and get a loan on the property since the interest is so low right now?
You're 100% spot on. So one of the things I talk to people all the time, and look, I'd love the opportunity to chat with you. You can go to mortgagegumbo.com and send in your information, ma'am, and we can get with you. But, yes, money is so cheap. For you to figure out what you're going to borrow the money from me at to do the remodel versus you using that cash in hand, I could show you down to the day how long it's going to take you to recoup those funds. So you are very, very smart there, ma'am. Yes, money is cheap, so let's use the investors' money, not yours.
All right, great call, Alita. Thank you for your hour here, Dwayne. If you want to hear Mortgage Gumbo, it's coming on in 1 hour right after this show. You can continue listening on the Winning at Life app or the iHeartRadio app, whatever you listen to. Just keep it on. It'll keep going. If your station flips away, you can continue listening to the final hour on the show on the iHeartRadio app or the Winning at Life app. And remember, Dwayne's site, mortgagegumbo.com. I'm James Parker. We are Winning at Life with